Revolution. Skull. Is this what they do, Andy? You got to help me out here. Am I doing it right?
Skull. It's dumb. They stole it from the Iceland team. I like people don't like the horn. I like the horn. It's my horn is not your heritage, though, guys. I'm German. I'm not Nordic at all. Growing up, there were a lot of Scandinavians in the area for sure. A lot of last names ending in O-N and E-N for sure. But this is goofy.
Yeah. We got a goofy game on
definitely. I think both bets would have been bad, but I was telling Drew I thought about an under here. So I like the matchup. We saw Minnesota put up like 13 points on offense versus the Bears.
Sure.
We saw it go heavily through Hawk last week. They like to do that again. Addison obviously having a day. I opted instead for Minnesota team total under 18.5. So
you can absorb a safety.
I can absorb a safety at this point. The Rangers did just score 2 more points.
Oh boy,
goofy.
Astros in trouble. Oh boy,
the Niners and another Game 7. I don't know if it's tomorrow or if there's an off day.
Yeah,
but NLCS Game 7 will bless me.
This would be the second super high profile Rangers series in our lifetime where they will have lost all 4 games if this holds.
Yeah,
they lost all 4 to the Nationals, right? All at home, and they've lost so far 3 in the part in the what do you call it, the juice box? I forget what the nickname is.
So the Astros fans call it Mimic Made. The Houston or the Rangers part.
Rangers fan, yeah.
This is the juice box.
Yeah.
Barry Horse likes the second half over. I was leaning under.
Okay. What you tell me? What do you think? You go.
Well, I don't know. You have some Vikings in contest, and did you bet them too?
Yeah, +7 -116.
Do you want to try to middle it?
Yeah.
The Niners are a good team. Basically, they need to figure it out in their coverage. The linebackers are not looking as fast as they normally do, and obviously, letting Addison do what he did just there was a bit of a problem.
Yeah, they should stop pitching to this guy Garcia. That's my specific advice.
I think
to Dusty
obviously, I think
Niners are throwing at him anyway.
So we're in a cold streak.
Yes, that's true. We need to snap out of it. Yeah.
I'm saying should we chase with Niners and the over? Just parlay them. It's correlated. Niners aren't covering this without like 17 second half points, guys.
The Niners are going to score in the second half, though. I mean, Brock Purdy looks so comfortable against this defense. He's playing extremely well. I have a tough time seeing how that in comeback mode with a little bit more of an aggressiveness. If the Niners pivot away from their run game and they put the ball in Brock Purdy's hands, I feel like their chances of scoring are better. Christian McCaffrey so far tonight has been a dud outside of getting his nose across the line in that one touchdown.
That was just good blocking.
Yeah, it was. And the pass pro is not really an issue in the absence of Trent Williams at all. Again, another kind of crazy data point. Best tackle in football out of the game. Doesn't matter. Something about the Shanahan scheme and just in general, Brock Purdy's awareness when he's been under pressure so far today has been something to behold. The other side of the coin.
Well, the guy was Vikings, fucking with us anyway. Barry Horse hasn't posted anything.
Oh, okay.
He's just goofing with me.
Yeah. My lean here is Niners, but it's soft. I think the fact that they have the ball first and the fact that the defense that Brian Flores is trying to run out there, it's not working. The Niners so far are gaining 6.4 yards per play, and that's like not even with many chunk plays. Like they're just kind of crushing. And
Purdy, the longest run was the Purdy run. Like you said, McCaffrey isn't terribly effective. The Ayuk had one big play. Everything else has been, the long plays have been 10 to 15 kind of things. They haven't had a big play yet. I'm just let's try to middle this for you with some Niners second half.
Lego. It's juicy.
This
is happening. Have you noticed this happening more this year where they're less inclined to move off of a number and more inclined to just index the motherfucking bejesus out of the right side? This has happened a bunch.
Just make you pay for it. Make you pay for it. Yeah, and if you want to get squirrely Niners live money line.
They finally moved it to 7. I think 7 is a fine
I found a 6.5, 15.
So the math is they're down 9. So there's really no incentive here for the Niners to go for 2. So that doesn't really affect this push probably on 7 appreciably. If the
if the Vikings kick a field goal, then it's a 9 or a 12. If they kick 2, it's a 15. Like that. Okay. Then maybe, but
nah.
The Vikings aren't kicking any field goals, guys. That is a dangerous offense. They're either scoring on a big play or getting. Honestly, that red zone offense for Minnesota is pretty ugly. Kirk had one there. It feels like we've had a lot of that. And there's a lot of talk about why teams are not good in the red zone.
Yeah,
it feels like we've seen an abnormal amount of, oh my God, how did he not catch that? Also, too.
Yes,
it's still not some massive sample size. Even through 7 weeks, you're talking what, like 100 games? That's not huge.
Yeah. Okay, so we're good with Niners. Okay.
Yep, I played it.
All right.
-6.5, -15.
I think this is going to be a pretty close call. I'm not really sweating my +7 yet. Really hope I don't regret saying that out loud. But I think the Niners probably win this game. Like if you could have found a 9.5, I'd probably rather have that, right?
Yeah. Takeaway from Eagles Fins is Eagles got it and they needed it because the schedule continues to be tough. And we saw Hurts is not quite 100%. And still, he had a couple bad turnovers. Like in a close game, he can't be doing that stuff if they want to win the NFC. Mm-hmm. They have some competition.
No, the takeaway is even more simple
very good.
The link in primetime is the biggest home field advantage in the NFL. Right now. I mean, what home field advantage should be higher than the link in primetime?
I'm going to say if Denver or Seattle were really good and they had their, the fan base, obviously when Miami, if it's like 100 degrees out and they put you on the wrong sideline, that's not fun.
Okay.
Like that's Jags, for different.
The Jags, if they're in London and you have to go see them.
the second, somebody actually already said, I'll give Hunter some credit.
Jags double. Yeah. I didn't see him post that, but I agree with them. We're on the same wavelength there. Okay. All right. Well, the Eagles, that was a very hard fought win. And I guess follow closely to find out if Hurts is injured or if he's fine. I guess follow closely.
I know. Just looking at the line for the Eagles game, kind of getting off that and talking about this upcoming week. What was this price here for week 8?
6.5-ish, right?
6.5. Not really willing to crest the 7. I know it's early in the week, but when people ask me, I said, "Yeah, I make that like 8." I'm just kind of waiting to find out that people have some information, and like we see Jalen Hurts in like a walking boot or something. Obviously, it's more of a knee thing. He had the brace on,
right? Yeah.
If he misses a couple practices early in the week, I guess this makes a little more sense. But I'm a little surprised. I was joking about this a little. Somebody asked if we had any more bets. I did rebuild my totals model with some stuff I've been kind of working backwards on.
Hit me.
And the first one was like, hey, Saints Jags under, which obviously didn't on last Thursday, but
Jags and Saints are situational totals now. We know.
Yeah.
We know.
You made a really good point about how, but it's funny too because I think I'm gonna have to attack this a little earlier. I like the Carolina over, I like the Bears over, and those both moved 2 points, and I didn't bet them. Didn't bet them yet. I probably still will, honestly. Chicago, if you can find a 46. Even 46.5, I still make that 48. The Carolina-Houston game was like 42. That's up to 43.5. Anything under 45, I think, is bettable. I got to go hunt around for prices. We'll talk about it Wednesday. But those are I hate betting overs in today's landscape, especially with, the quarterbacks I'm naming is 2 rookies, Teabag, and then the Chargers, Herbert. Like, it's kind of a tough hang that I'm liking overs in those. I kind of like the under in Dallas a little as well. I should see if that moved. That actually is going up a little.
We were making Arrested Development jokes, and wasn't Tobias uncle, or wasn't he a Teabag? Was his
a new start,
a nickname? A new start.
A new start. I loved how he went out there and didn't let the moment get real big on him, though. Like that's a hallowed football ground, Soldier Field. I mean, that's a big spot for a young kid, and he went out there and. I mean, he wasn't. Go look at the stat line. It wasn't great, but man, he was like the perfect game manager. And they got the defensive score too. But he leaned on the run. He did what they told him, and he looked pretty good. He was decisive when he needed to be. So I love me some Teabag.
Yeah. Do you want to guess what the biggest adjustments relative to the preseason look ahead across the Week 8 games? There's two that are at the top of the list. I bet you can get both of them.
One more time. I was
the biggest delta between the preseason look ahead market and the current bettable numbers across the Week 8 sides. What has moved the most relative to preseason expectations?
What would Minnesota Green Bay have been? I don't think that's it, but I'm curious.
It's not. No, that was actually Minnesota favored by 1.
Really?
Yeah.
Cincinnati, San Francisco.
That was San Francisco favored by 1. So that's a big one, but it's not the biggest.
That's not the biggest. Okay.
No.
Vegas, Detroit. Curious what that one would have been.
Vegas, Detroit was 3.5. So that has moved 4.5 points. But that is not the biggest either. So in fact, that's barely outside the top 5. Yeah. We have 2 6-point moves relative to the preseason expectations.
Rams, Dallas.
No, Rams,
really?
Dallas
I'm
is
terrible
pretty close. Pretty close, actually. That was a 6-point spread preseason.
What was Cleveland, Seattle?
Cleveland, Seattle was 1.5. Plus 1.5 for the Browns.
I just don't. I don't have it. I guess I don't have it. I get Giants, Jets.
No.
I'm gonna guess every game.
That one was Jets minus. That one was Jets. Okay, this will blow your mind. You ready for this, Andy?
Yes.
Jets Giants with Aaron Rodgers was Jets minus 1.5. With Zach Wilson, it's -3.
That's pretty funny, actually. I didn't think of the Aaron Rodgers thing. I can't think of any more games.
We have 2 6-point adjustments. New England was expected to be +4. It's +10 at Miami.
Oh, the Miami game. There you go.
And the other is Houston at Carolina.
Carolina.
I was expected to be Carolina -3, and it's Houston -3 on the open.
That one. Okay. The game I just talked about, and the home field I just talked about. Actually, the Miami game is it is in Miami.
Yeah,
I was way better at this last week.
Do those adjustments check out to you though?
I'd have to go look at what I can pull up my preseason numbers for that. What did you say, Miami? I have my week by week. What did you say?
It was expected to be Miami favored by 4.
If that game was happening in week 1, I would have had Miami, New England. So let's make them move. We're going to carry the 2. Yeah, I would have had Miami -3 in that game.
Yeah. So
what did you say the price was?
Preseason, it was 4.
Okay. Yeah, I would have taken New England, I guess. Oof.
Okay. Well, we'll get to more of these games, but it's just fun to kind of.
Oh, you know what we need to do? We had a prize to give away.
Oh yeah, hit it.
And I don't want to say it was cheating, but man, because
there's
no way
Dan win.
Dan did win. We're giving the card to Dan. No, but Dan was, semi-tasked with looking through them.
I'm gonna drum roll because you had to verify that the commenter subscribes, right?
I did.
Not easy.
I made sure.
It's not easy.
It was always meant to get new subscribers, but I'm 90% sure this person used to subscribe or at least did, And like you said, can't plan this sort of thing. If he did, absolutely diabolical. But the hef. The comment was, I mean, he had a baby and
yes,
podcast in live form. Like that trumps any prediction. Like having a child during. I don't know that this is true.
Yeah,
I'm going to assume the child was born right when you hit the opening octave of coincide.
Okay. I like it. I like it.
Yeah, hit me up. Hit me up in the Discord.
Baby boy, congratulations! You win the Fanatics
little baby boy.
That's cool. That's cool.
Yeah, what better way than to get the baby some gear?
So you put all the names and you randomized it, and the karma brought the gift card. That's that's very cool. I love that.
No, I just said I'd pick one.
Okay.
Comment. Yeah, I was like, yeah, baby. That's like a good comment. I'm gonna keep begging. I think we have more of these gift cards.
Now the blueprint's been written. If you want to win a gift card, you got to have a kid.
9 months from now, this could be you. Yeah, you kind of have to name that child Andrew. Like, at least the middle name, guys.
I love it. Well, very cool.
Niners are moving it a little.
I think the hef is a Patriots fan. I think so. Get him a little Mac Jones jersey, or maybe
honestly,
wait for the next.
You know what looks cute on babies? Little stocking hats. Hats.
Oh, there you go.
What's the name of the guy?
Patriot Pat. Yeah, Patriot Pat. Right on the hat. Patriot Pat. Right on the hat. Very cool.
I did want to talk a little for kind of lining up the week with our friends at Profit Exchange. Thursday night, I went negative. I went Josh Allen versus Baker Mayfield.
Yep.
Turnovers, interceptions plus lost fumbles.
Love it.
So if you go over to Profit Exchange, the link is in the description. You can put money in that one, and then I kept it a little more simple for Sunday night.
Okay.
Also because it's Chargers Bears, man. So I just went Keenan versus DJ Moore receptions. Like who's going to be the
we were promised the battle of the Justins. Instead, we get Teabag versus the D-bag.
The D-bag versus the D-bag.
Being Brandon Staley, of course, who lying about the coverage that he put out there in the first half that got destroyed this week. What are we doing? Anybody with what are we doing?
You didn't. So I was about to say anybody with NFL Plus, which by the way I would recommend. It's like 80 bones for the year. It's such a good deal.
If you get him now, it's like 50. It's down.
You get the short. You get the short 30-minute rewatches if you want, and you get the all 22. I was going to say anyone who watched the all 22, you didn't need to watch the all 22. You could see it on the wide shots. Like clearly, he was just getting in behind linebackers in a soft zone.
Yeah.
Over and over, and it was bad. Yeah, that's how he had 150 goddamn yards.
Yeah, and then he lied about what he called, or he blamed his players for misunderstanding what he was calling. I don't even know what the plan was, but it was a D-bag move regardless, and I think he's going to have his handful stopping T-bag this week.
If you like football and you like handicapping football, I would recommend. I paid like $200 for this refurbished computer.
Yeah.
And I had an old shitty TV at home. And I set that up as like my second monitor.
Nice.
It's also, so that one is, it's above me right now. It's what I watch the live games on while I have my computer doing other things. But that's so nice to like work
pretty badly. Was that a fumble? I think it was.
Oh God. But yeah, it's so nice on Mondays and Tuesdays doing the rewatches up there.
Stinky play by Purdy. He ran into that pressure too.
You said he was going to be good in the second half, Drew.
I thought he was going to be. That was stinky, though. Whew.
I don't know if
that's
like his hand.
Probably a pass, but
it was a pass. But if it's a pass, it's a penalty.
It should be an intentional grounding. Yeah,
I would clearly say intentional grounding.
I mean, there was nobody in the.
Also, and Dan might have a point. He might have been just sacked.
That might have just been a sack.
Yeah,
Let's see. Is his knee down? Knee? Yeah, his knee's down. Well,
this is the fun part. This is the fun part about like if you should just every year we do this. We track this sort of stuff. Like there's always these takes of is this guy the MVP? Last year or last couple weeks, a few people made cases for Goff. And to be fair, there's still a case for Goff. Like he still can blaze for the rest of the season. But I mean,
it's just going to go to Mahomes. It always does.
Yeah, like that's the thing. If there's
calf equals me, okay, all right, good to know.
There's this, need to find a long shot in some of these markets.
Yeah,
it's like shit. Like sometimes you just got to stay away from one. Like I've been circling on defensive player of the year. I've had like 7 guys where it's like I should bet this guy.
Can I have Can I sell you on one more?
Nobody outside of the big 3 is going to win that.
Can I sell you on one more?
In what market?
Defensive player of the year.
I mean, it has to be like 75 to 1 or bigger.
100 to 1. 100 to 1. Best defense in the NFL, EPA per play since week 9 last year, Andy, is who?
Chiefs.
Nope.
They looked kind of bad the other day.
No, it's not the Chiefs.
EPA per play.
Yeah.
Yeah, oh God.
Mindhunter got it. It's the Ravens.
They have been very good.
Can you think of what happened week 9 last year? Just out of curiosity, that would have put them into that rarefied air?
They traded for Roquan Smith.
They did. That's right.
That. And that was a good trade. That was such a good trade for both teams, honestly, too.
Only Faisal Aluakhan, or however you pronounce Aluakhan's name for the Jags, only guy with more tackles over that time span than Roquan Smith. I think there is an angle here because Parsons is just not getting the counting stats yet. He's starting to get double teamed already. He's doing more than just exclusively pass rushing. Yeah. Right. So Parsons, I think his case is the sketchiest, right? And the Browns and the Steelers, if they lose the division to the Ravens, and the Ravens are the number 1 defense by every DVOA metric, by every EPA metric at the end of this season, are we really not considering a Raven over the other 2 teams that they beat in that, like, in those categories?
He needs some flash plays. He does need some flash plays. It's such a stupid thing, but like those matter. I mean, the Garrett play was like the one play they showed. It's funny. Technically, it's still defense. It's not a kickoff. It's not a kick return. Mm-hmm. It was special teams, but it was a defensive play, and it was amazing. And then at the same time, too, like, what play did they show of the
one clip of the Steelers?
Watt dropping back. Yeah. I mean, that was a heady play, though.
That's a great play.
He read that. He read it like a book, and that got the team going.
Yeah, but if the Steelers finish 6-11, is he really in consideration over someone from the Ravens?
No, then I really just think it defaults to Micah at that point. Like, you got to sell me on Roquan getting the counting stats other than tackles. Like, I don't think you win it just because you have like 180 tackles.
So we need him to start doing the Ray Lewis thing at the beginning of games and really getting the focus. We need him to start getting the focus. Okay.
I would love it if he did that. That Ray Lewis thing used to pump me up, man.
Yeah, hell yeah.
I threw a ball 37 yards today.
Did you measure it?
It was a child's ball, though. It was. I don't have a full size football.
What's your opinion now? Do you think you can do full size 30?
I don't have a big hand. I think I could throw a college ball 30.
Okay.
I was gonna stop at the. I mean, they're always having like practice on the football field when I'm leaving work. Okay. They need to like get off there because I don't have the hash marks at home.
Yeah. All right. So just
I did have the wind at my back.
100 to 1 is an absurd long shot.
No, that's
bear with me. But my point is, it's pretty straightforward that there is a very real chance that when the dust settles at the end of this year, the number 1 defense is Baltimore.
Yeah, no, I'd agree with you there. I didn't say anything about accuracy. I'm talking like, who remembers the hash marks? I mean, it's the yard line is what I mean.
Yeah, we're talking
I'm
about.
not talking about accuracy. I'm talking about.
We're talking about. Yeah, we're measuring. Yeah, we're measuring. We're measuring.
I don't care if it goes that way. 25 yards from me.
Yes, magnitude of the vector, not the direction of the vector. We don't care. We just want the magnitude of the vector.
I have some of that marking paint, the upside down paint cans. I might have to draw a football field. No, I'm talking just. This is me launching it at like the perfect angle so it travels the furthest.
You're
not into a receiver's hand.
The full arm punt.
And I get one bounce.
A full arm punt. Okay.
I did. It's funny too. I was cleaning up the yard. I found a baseball today too. I just didn't want to lose it. I didn't want to launch that.
All right. So Holt has a request. Could we please hit on the NBA before the stream is over? We should probably do that now because we're waning here.
The biggest question everyone has to ask, and I'm gonna ask the questions here, Drew.
Yeah. Go ahead. Hit me. Hit me.
Thunder mushed.
Thunder under. Yeah.
Is it just it's gone too far?
A very clear under, yes, in my opinion. Okay, so here's the problem with betting the Thunder over or having any kind of positive expectation for the Thunder. The Thunder were the beneficiaries of other teams tanking last year. The Thunder were a 22.5 or something like that, 24.5 win total expected team last year. They overperformed by an enormous amount, and now the delta between last year's win total and this year's win total is 20 games. And all they have is a 1 year. Right? It's just 1 year of progression in SGA, 1 year progression with Giddey, and you're introducing Chet Holmgren. Those ingredients, stew them together, does not equal a delta of 20 in terms of expectation.
No, and so anybody who's ever played the new Zeldas,
too far. Yes.
You know what you get when you mix those ingredients together?
You get a goblin stew. Dubious food. Yes. Dubious food. Nice. That's right. Dubious food. Thank you.
I have a question on the Hawks. It feels like they didn't get along all that great as a squad. Is that fixable?
It is. They shipped John Collins to Utah, and that's a win-win. I think the Hawks will be better off for it, and I think Utah will be better off for having John Collins. I think the Hawks, are realistic candidates to beat the Heat in the Southeast. I think the Hawks are realistic candidates to scoop an award. 6th Man of the Year, Bogey Bogdanovic at 22-1. I don't know if you remember this, Andy. We're old enough to remember. Jordan Clarkson winning a 6th Man of the Year award under the Quinn Snyder, his tutelage, his system. I think Bogey basically plays that off the bench, heated up offensively with the second unit, and then close with the first unit type of contributions this year. I think he could, in my opinion, beat the rest of the 6-man competition by like 5 points per game. I think it could be big. And he may run away with this. I'm not saying this is a Tyler Hero type of situation, but I think it's a pretty good bet.
Yeah, and I mean, if you guys want to ask questions too, that'd be even better. I did have one. What is the ceiling for Dame Freak or whatever we're calling it? Freak time.
NBA title.
Because sometimes you put a couple. Sometimes super teams don't always gel right away.
Absolutely,
this could be December before the shit works. That said, it's scary.
There are clear positives, right? Their half-court offense has been stagnant through the Budenholzer era, and now that problem is completely solved, right? The other major issue though is they're going into this with a virgin coach, which is very, very spooky. Adrian Griffin, I think, is who we're going to war with here.
Was he
Toronto assistant?
Okay.
He was a Toronto assistant. First time through being head coach of a playoff team is very, very hard to understand how to adjust and tweak and, mold your team throughout a playoff series. The good thing for him, though, is that he doesn't have any pieces to work with. So he's just got to kind of go, the cupboard is bare in terms of adjustments. You just got to kind of play your guys. And so maybe it works out. But Griffin being a first timer, I think is pretty spooky. If you're really expecting to hit your ceiling for the Bucks. And the other problem for the Bucks is they got to go through Boston. Boston's going to probably get the one.
Yeah, that was kind of the next easy layup is it's Boston just the best team in the East by still a little bit because they have the continuity and that it's not like they haven't added. Captain Kirk continuing to look good.
Yeah,
I do have another question in the East. It harkens back to the Thunder. Oh my God, he almost threw a pick to Zach Greenlaw.
He's been doing that a lot. There's a lot of goals.
The fun part about the Thunder is the young stars. It's the actual young team that might be surprising in Orlando.
Well, I mean, for my money, yes.
I'm excited about Orlando.
Yeah. For my money, yes. I think that's a really exciting team. That, I mean, the win total reflects that to a degree. Like they're not a bet to the over. It's like 37. It's like close to 40. It's 37 or 38. Let me take a look. Orlando 37.5. I'm like one game over that. I think if you want some upside with Orlando, Franz Wagner, most improved player, Franz Wagner. He is their best player. And if they are if they're like surprisingly good, he could make his first all-star team. That's kind of the most important factor in winning most improved player. You need to be a first-time all-star. If you guys figure out who that is, you will win that bet. I think Franz Wagner is a good bet, though, because he is a very good player.
Ooh, they're calling that DPI. The fix is in, guys. Fix is in. Minnesota was always Minnesota.
I mean, it was ticky-tack.
This is bad for Minnesota. Like, you don't want to win games. You should be tanking.
Ticky-tacky, ticky-tacky,
teams don't tank.
Yeah.
How messy is Philly?
Now, let's not get crazy. I mean, Joe Mazzulla came into last season.
Joe Mazzulla, I know he was a little rough in the playoffs, guys.
He was rough in the playoffs, but they dropped him into the crucible where you're in organizational dysfunction with the distressed firing of a head coach. And he didn't get to put together a support staff or anything. You know who he's got this year, Andy? Mr. Stan Van Gundy, no longer in the booth for ESPN. He is on the sidelines with the Celtics this year. I think that actually kind of matters. I really do. I think he'll be helpful.
Matters to Doris.
So I think, and also he watches The Town.
The Town is a good movie. Like, I don't give a shit. The jokes, it's a good movie. I'm not a big Arthur Miller guy.
Did the Vikings just fumble? I don't know what the hell just happened, but Kirk Cousins just walked away from the pile like he
Warner just launched over the line. Do you remember? Somebody brought that up on the timeline. Back to football. Do you remember, like, running backs used to dive over the line a lot more? Do you remember that?
Sure. Yeah, of course.
They called a false start on that play.
Yeah, that's fair. All right. So
is Zion back? Hey, quick, Sixers thoughts. They still have an MVP candidate. Harden might not fucking matter. Is it still like this is the top 3 team in the East anyway?
The Sixers are a dead nut under week in, week out. Without Harden? Because I think Sixers will not.
Do you think he was a defensive liability, is what you're saying?
Yes, he was offensive. He was an offensive positive factor too. Believe me, Harden I don't think Harden plays a game for the Sixers. I think they ultimately will move him. They are trying to through a trade and just accumulate assets and then use those assets to go get another star. That's the rumor. Now, I don't know whether that'll work. I assume it'll probably be a factor. Embiid. I mean, they have. Let's take a look. Without Harden in the picture at all, I have them 10th overall in my net rating. Offense 16th, defense top 5. So basically, they are going to have to win ugly if they are winning without Harden. And I think they can. I don't think Embiid as an MVP case. Forget about it. He can't do more than he did last year. He can't be healthier than he was last year. And all of the arguments that they held against Jokic last year will be used against Embiid this year. So he is absolutely dead money in the MVP pool, in my opinion.
Take on I haven't brought up my Timberwolves. A lot of big names on that roster. 3 of them, in fact. They just signed McDaniels, who I love, obviously defensively, but he's starting to, if he can be an offensive force.
Yeah.
Suddenly this is a pretty good team. Is it just more of the same where they are just teetering around the 6, 7, 8 seed and play-in champs, or do they have
that was a big sequence for the Niners second halfers. That was a pretty clutch stop. So my here's the thing, Andy.
God, it's like a tough love here with my Timberwolves.
No, this is not it at all. This is the thing. You take Darko is still the gold standard for player level rating.
I think he's coaching the the Toronto Raptors.
Yeah, I like him for coach of the year, by the way. 45-1. It's a good bet. Darko. Yeah.
I've been waiting to throw that in.
That's a good one.
I thought you'd bring Darko up a lot sooner.
Darko is the gold standard of player level ratings. The number one defensive player by Darko is Rudy Gobert.
Still, even after last year.
Even after last year, he is still number one.
What's Ant's chart look like?
Ant's chart's going up too, but it's not. They're actually Ant is the number 5. Oh no, I'm sorry, he's not number 5. That's Anthony Davis. My bad. Anthony Edwards is farther down.
Different guy. But he just went to the locker room.
Locker room. Rudy Gobert, his DPM down significantly. He was a big negative last year relative to previous year. Still number one defensively. Really, here's the thing with the Timberwolves. You sum those parts together, that is a top 7 team. Okay, they should win.
That was what was the annoying part last year.
They should win 50 games, and they should absolutely be a top half of the West seed with a home court advantage, not have to play their way in. Like if you do the sum of the parts to get there, okay? They are coming off a season where they wildly did not meet the sum of the parts. And so do you feel like there is something else going on that's you can't capture with individual player level data that is going to prevent them from making it? So I guess what I'm saying is
chemistry there, Walter White.
Yes, and wide range of outcomes, right?
Yeah.
Like the milk spoils, Finch gets fired, they don't make the play-in, or they do catch a little positive variance. The team comes together. Anthony Edwards makes a leap. Cat has a career year because he's trying to get paid. Rudy Gobert is closer to the defensive player we remember from a couple of years ago, at which point you're a top 3, top 4 seed in the West. Like that's absolutely within the range of outcomes, right? I think the ceiling, the hopium for the T-Wolves fans, entirely possible you win a playoff series this year.
Oh, it's been a while, boys.
Yeah.
Here's a good question from Eric.
Twins just did it. Why not?
Why not us? Why not now?
Yes.
How much of an adjustment on Grizzlies without Adams?
The number 3 player by Darko defensively is Steven Adams.
Is he just a season-long injury?
He's out for the year.
Yeah, he's done. Like no chance. He's
no
playing.
Chance.
Correct.
No chance he comes back. Brandon Clark, the other good big that they have besides JJJ, is recovering from an Achilles tear and may not be back until after Christmas or the All-Star break. Ja Morant got suspended for the first 25 games. That means this is all of a sudden JJJ.
Was he in trouble?
Bane. Yes, he got in big trouble in the playoffs after they got eliminated.
All I want to do is
boom, boom, boom. So fundamentally, the Grizzlies at full strength should be a top 10 team. At current strength are a 16th ranked team. And that's with a very, very positive opinion on Bane and JJJ for me. And it's still really, really troubling because, like, the guys here are the guys in the lineup that the Grizzlies are going to be counting on until we get past Christmas. You ready for this? We need positive contributions from the likes of Xavier Tillman Sr. We need positive contributions from Luke Kennard, Zaire Williams, Kenneth Lofton Jr. Kenneth Lofton Jr. Did you know he was on the Grizz?
He is a massive man.
So he is a massive
man. He's the huge dude, right?
Kenneth Lofton Jr. he probably weighs 280 and he's only like 6'5" or something like that. Yeah.
Lane presence.
Kenneth Lofton Jr. What height and weight? Let me see. Height and weight. He is 6'7", 280. And I mean, he is as thick as they come in his media photos.
Thicker than a bowl of oatmeal.
He is thicker than a bowl of oatmeals. Okay, so yeah, you're asking a lot out of some pretty limited players in the absence of Ja Morant and Steven Adams this year. So kind of a problem. Touchdown Niners. All right. Well,
here we go.
We got ourselves a game.
Are you a Ben Simmons believer?
No.
I don't think the Nets are going anywhere.
No, I'm not.
They could make the playoffs.
Let me tell you what my rating is for Simmons. Oh, actually, I don't know that he beats out Spencer Dinwiddie for starting point guard for the Nets. I think they're looking at a Dinwiddie, Lonnie Walker, Mikal Bridges, Cam Johnson, Nicholas Claxton youth movement across the board there.
I don't know if you've brought this up on when you talk. I don't know how much NBA you've gotten into with Jay or anything yet, but I know you have some takes on the Warriors because they are. It feels like they're an. I haven't bet anything in the NBA. You and Noobs haven't talked me into something. I should probably do it because it starts tomorrow. But they are kind of an alternate under candidate because if it goes wrong and everybody ages out kind of at the same time, this could be a bad team.
Yeah. I think you nailed it.
Yeah, you
that's a handicap.
You showed me the Darko chart. I'm like, oh no.
Yeah. Well, see, that's the thing about the Darko chart with the Warriors that's so weird is that a bunch of them hit flat tops, right?
Yeah.
And that's kind of like the, you don't
think about plateau.
You when the plateau was happening, if you think about what was going on with the Warriors during those plateaus, that was when they were like giving those guys lots of rest. So what happened was they had that one weird season where they cycled everybody in random times of the year. They didn't play together all year till the playoffs, right? And so they were able to kind of arrest the decline of all of those players for like a full year. And then towards the end of last year, they all started to decline again, right? And now you add Chris Paul to the mix. Don't know how he fits. He's on the decline pretty aggressively. There were moments during the end stages last year. Yeah, definitely. He's an injury risk. Yeah. Oh, yeah. And on top of that, like, I really I don't know. I just don't know what he's adding to the pot here. And also, they're starting the season with Draymond Green's already hurt. That's their most important defender. That's not good.
He hasn't hit anybody yet.
That's a good thing.
That's a solid. 9 people asked for your Wemby thoughts. I have one. Did you see that dunk where his body started, ended, and he was outside of the restricted area and dunked? It was like the end of the original Space Jam where, oh my God, his arm isn't actually that long, right? This is special effects. Disgusting. Basically the handicap is if you really believe that body can't hold up to NBA rigors, like it could be a problem. I think he could win Rookie of the Year playing 40 games. Like he's just so good. He's gonna every time he plays, he's gonna have these crazy highlight blocks, and he's gonna make threes, and it's just gonna be fun. The team might not win all that much, but it's still gonna just be so fun. And the media is obsessed already. So, how does he not win? Like he would have to get hurt real early, I think.
Yeah, if he gets hurt before Christmas, that's the only. That's basically a bet against him in Rookie of the Year. Is a bet that he gets hurt before Christmas, and he's not showing much in the way of fragility that I could tell you. That said, the rigors of an NBA season are different. You got to go up against bigger boys. Sometimes you get hurt. It's funny you brought up this preseason. If you were like, hey, rank the top 5 Wemby highlights from the preseason, it would take me 30 minutes. Like there were so many. There were so many.
He didn't even play that many games. Like somebody had one. It's like, hey, here's like these. This all happened within like 30 seconds. This isn't super cut.
So many. Good
it's not like we clipped this up. These were on like 3 consecutive possessions.
Yeah. The Wizards are the funniest team. Yeah. The Wizards. So
Jordan
some teams have like you look at their composite. Darko across the team, and it's like, they got a couple holes. The Wizards have no positives, none, but they're all kind of fine offensive, kind of heat check guys. So they're probably going to be entertaining. This starting lineup could be weird. And I mean, speaking of starting lineups being weird, San Antonio is going to start Jeremy Skokin as their point guard. They're going to have like 5 guys on the floor who are like 6'7" or taller, and one of them is Wemby playing power forward, not center, at like 7, whatever 3 is, whatever height he is.
Who plays center then?
They're going to mostly go with Zach Collins at center in San Antonio, and he's a good defensive center. He's a good piece to have out there with Wemby. Like it's a cool experiment. I'm excited to see what Pop does, but it's going to be a gigantic team. Like just weirdly huge.
Long,
Washington is weirdly a bunch of heat check guys, and they could be interesting, entertaining, surely. Bitcoin take. I wish Bitcoin had just kind of kept its cool until after football season. That's my only thought there. I'm not in a lot of Bitcoin right now because I have most of my bankroll in faraway places. So not loving this price action.
palm tree places.
Yes.
Did you bet any conference winners or finals winners?
No, not yet.
I like doing that when the playoffs start. I usually will do a matchup bet. I'll find a. I'll
it's gonna crack 35K today. What the fuck, man? All right. Sorry.
Some hard wicks up though.
Yeah, well, sustained chugging up also, which is reminiscent of this time of year in 2020.
4 years ago?
Yeah,
2019 maybe.
2020.
I think it was pre-pandemic.
This was post-pandy when it cranked from like 12 to 18 to 20, and then through 2021 was where it was ridiculous. Anyway,
one more. Raptors. You mentioned I wanted to go back to this anyway because you mentioned Darko as a possible coach of the year candidate.
Mm-hmm.
Replacing Nick Nurse. Scotty Crotty, Sean Crotty says bringing new energy to the building.
Yeah, I think so. I think the Raptors' ceiling is top 4 seed. Their floor is playing. In either way, I think they're going to surprise people to the good, and Darko is going to become more of a known entity, and it's going to get people excited. And we could end up in a situation where he's the coach of the year, and he is currently lined 45-1, and I'm not exactly sure why he's at the very low end of that list. The coach of the year market, by the way, like it's just flat out broken. It's flat out broken. Like all of the names at the top are teams who are either known, who are either expected to be quite good, or teams that have like super high expectations already that can only be not met.
Who was the Knicks coach that won it a couple years back?
Thibodeau.
Tom
Thibodeau. Yeah, I
think I had
questions there about whether he's kind of ground that.
Everybody I knew, I didn't have any. I don't think I had any tickets, but everybody I knew had tickets on the other two guys. It was Quinn and. I'm trying to think who the other one were. It was just kind of between those two guys, and then
Monty Williams,
Monty and Quinn.
Yeah, they both were better than Tibbs, but Tibbs was in New York, and it was a great story. So
maybe we'll do this on Mondays. We'll do overtime in the association. This is fun.
Man, Niners can't get a stop, which is good and bad for us. Good for me, bad for us.
Third downs would be nice here.
They're giving up. They're giving up whatever they need over the middle on third down so far.
Yeah, is that Bilal Powell?
The Darko that is now the coach of the Raptors is Darko Rajakovic. Rajakovic.
Darko is very common. It's a very common name over there. It's like Craig. I believe it translates directly and phonetically to Craig.
Yeah, that sounds about right. He is a Serbian professional basketball coach. He is known as a developer. He was an assistant for the Grizzlies the last 3 years. The Grizzlies actually might suffer for not having him there this year because they could use a guy that could get some of their younger guys caught up quick. And it's possible. I think if the Raptors make a leap, I think Rajakovic is the beneficiary. I know some smart people really think Scotty Barnes MIP is the way to take any kind of positive expectation for the Raptors, and that's fine.
Split it up on those two.
The Raptors actually they have still a very decent team. OG Anunoby and Jakob Poeltl are both sure positives, and I think their worst starter is probably Gary Trent Jr., I guess. So, interesting. All right.
I just mix him up with Gary Clark Jr. Totally different guy.
Yeah. Fred VanVleet, no longer a Toronto Raptor. I think that's probably fine.
Blues guitarist.
Yep.
Completely different person. All right, let's call it a night. I'm going to go home. Tuck the kids in, watch the rest of this game, call it a day. We'll be back tomorrow in spirit, but we'll see you Wednesday night for the show. Thanks for hanging. Thanks. Hit some thumbs up on the way out. Take advantage of those markets if you want to over on Profit Exchange. We'll see you then.